at Jeff Catalfino. Why are the Steelers consistently unable to find their next franchise quarterback? How much will they regret letting Fields go? Jeff, I think the Fields thing, I think there were two pieces of the Fields thing. And the first piece to it is the obvious right now, which is that Aaron Rodgers is out there. They made a decision that they were going to make a run at Aaron Rodgers. I fully support their decision to do that. And I think it makes all kinds of sense for them to be in on Aaron Rodgers, but there's collateral damage to that, and the collateral damage to that in this case, would be Justin Fields. And it's not even that they couldn't have had Fields and Rodgers on the team at the same time. I think they could have actually done that. It's that if you have that possibility out there that those two guys were going to be on the team at the same time, you are necessarily saying to Justin Fields, we're not set on making you the starter. And maybe they would have gotten there if Rodgers had made this decision earlier. The Jets took advantage of that situation. The Jets more or less said, we're comfortable with Justin Fields as our starter for the next 2 years. That's what the contract tells you, because not only is $20 million fully guaranteed for this year, 10 of the $20 million he has on the books for next year is also fully guaranteed. You wouldn't give somebody that sort of guarantee a year down the line unless you felt like that person could be a starter for you. So the Justin Fields situation, to me, was more logistical than anything else. Once they throw their hat in the Aaron Rodgers ring, the collateral damage becomes Justin Fields, because the opportunity exists for Fields to go start and play and have some runway to play somewhere else. The reason they can't find their next franchise quarterback, quite honestly, is that they haven't taken enough swings on doing it. And, if you look over the years, it was a few years ago now where they got Mason Rudolph on day 3 of the draft. They haven't spent a ton of high-end capital there. And the year that they did wind up doing it, it was sort of a gun to your head situation where they're coming out of the Ben Roethlisberger era. They need a starting quarterback. And they wind up overdrafting Kenny Pickett in the first round in a year when I think most people would have told you 2022, where there really wasn't a quarterback worthy of being drafted in the first round. And so you draft Kenny Pickett, and then really for 2 years, you're off the quarterback market. You're off the quarterback market for 22. The year you draft him, you're off the quarterback market for 23. That brings you into 24, where you do the short-term deals to try to band-aid the situation with Justin Fields and Russell Wilson. And you come out of that, logistically, the Fields thing doesn't work. Obviously, Fields was a higher priority than Wilson, who's still out there. And you find yourself where you're at. You're still chasing the miss that you had on Kenny Pickett. So instead of taking a quarterback earlier, maybe you could have traded up in 2021, traded up in 2020. If you had addressed that more aggressively at the end of the Ben Roethlisberger era and gave yourself multiple shots at it, maybe you would have wound up with a suitable answer at the position. Instead, you are where you are because you got backed into having to take a quarterback in a single year. And we've talked about it in the past, like making that decision that you're going to take a quarterback in the first round. That's how, ahead of time, that's how Christian Ponder goes in the first round. That's how E.J. Manuel goes in the first round. Ultimately, I think Kenny Pickett was overdrafted because of that dynamic. Not his fault, but I think that's part of why he was drafted where he was drafted, because of the makeup of his class. And because the Steelers did that, they are now still chasing that mistake.